Hello and welcome to Quays News. I'm Doug Roworth here with the latest updates this afternoon. Coming up on today's show, a man has been arrested after carrying dangerous weapons in Whitehall. Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson accused Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn of being a mutton-headed old mugwump. A worrying trend called stealthing is rising among young people. A full investigation into Christie's Hospital is now underway following a fire that happened yesterday. And later on in the show, our reporter Isaac tells us about an unconventional way to see Manchester sights, followed by the sport and weather. A man in his 20s has been arrested in the Whitehall area after being seen carrying 2 knives. Armed police attended on the scene at 1422 on Parliament Street. The Metropolitan Police says there were no injuries. The suspect is in custody in a South London police station. The police statement added the man was arrested on suspicion of possession of an offensive weapon and on suspicion of the commission, preparation and instigation of acts of terrorism. Knives have been recovered from him. Detectives from the Counter-Terrorism Command are continuing their investigation, and as a result of this arrest, there is no immediate known threat. The incident happened just yards from Downing Street, although Prime Minister Theresa May spent the day campaigning in Derbyshire. Security remains tight outside Whitehall buildings following the terror attack on the 22nd of March, in which PC Keith Palmer was stabbed to death at the entrance of Parliament. Boris Johnson has accused Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn of being a security threat and not just a mutton-headed old mugwump. The Foreign Secretary then went on to say that it is absolutely vital for Britain's security that we have the strong, stable and decisive leadership of Theresa May. Responding to the claim that Corbyn was a mugwump, John Healey, the Shadow Housing Secretary, said, I think this is Boris Johnson feeling left out of the campaign, and it is the sort of look at me name calling that you would expect from an Eton playground. This morning, Jeremy Corbyn spoke to reporters saying that he would not resort to personal name calling and that he wanted to focus on the issue at hand. Corbyn then went on to say, we're in this election because we have a serious debate to be held on the issues facing this country, such as housing, schools and health. We approach this in a responsible, serious way. I leave that kind of language to others. A trend called stealthing is rising amongst young people. The term stealthing is when a man removes a condom halfway through intercourse without the partner being aware. Alexandra Brodsky of Yale School admits she's aware stealthing is not new, but it is rarely talked about. Brodsky wrote about the alarming trend in a paper written for the Columbia Journal of Gender and Law, exploring how the consensual sex can be transformed into non-consensual by the secret removal of condoms. Condom removal exposes victims to physical risks of pregnancy and disease, and interviews Brodsky carried out make clear it is experienced by many as a grave violation of dignity and autonomy. As part of her study, she spoke to a woman known only as Rebecca, who had been stealthed and also worked on a hotline for victims of sexual violence for the Huffington Post reports. Rebecca said many women called the hotline after being a victim of stealthing, but weren't quite sure of how to explain their experiences. In January, a Swiss court convicted a man of rape after he took his condom off halfway through intercourse without informing his sexual partner. If you have been affected by any of the issues raised in this article, help is always available on the Samaritans website or on their hotline 116 113. Firefighters are still tackling pockets of fire at the Christie's Hospital in Manchester. A full investigation is underway. Francesca Eagleton has more.
It's over 24 hours since the fire initially broke out here at the research centre next to the Christie Hospital. The roads are still closed with the traffic being diverted around the scene here on Wimslow Road in Withington. But we do know the fire crews have now got access into the building and are trying to make it as safe as possible whilst assessing the extent of the damage. A salvage operation is believed to be underway to try and save the majority of the expensive equipment and saving the valuable data and research that's conducted here. The firefighters remained here late into the night last night and are believed to stay here for at least another 48 hours. But an investigation is underway to find out what the cause of the fire was, because that still remains unknown. Francesca Eagleton reporting for Quays News.
As we know, Manchester is one of the main social hubs of the country, with tourism numbers increasing year by year. The city has adapted to these changes whilst maintaining its historical roots. Local taxi driver John Constantine decided to give people a further insight into Manchester by offering taxi tours to destinations dotted around our city. Our reporter Isaac Beach got the chance to speak to John about what it is he does and what attracts people to one of the busiest cities in the country.
I'm here at Walsall Hall in Salford with Manchester-born taxi driver John Constantine as he tells us about his twist on tours in Manchester as he drives people round showing them the different sights of the city.
What I do, Zach, is I'm a tour guide and I'm a taxi driver. Or I used to be a taxi driver before I became a tour guide. Now I've combined the two into obviously Manchester taxi tours, and the flexibility of the taxi enables me to bespoke a tour for people coming to Manchester. So what might be interesting to one person, i.e. football, might not be interesting to something else, but a place like here at Walsall Hall appeals right across the generations because this is such a fantastic place. So there's places like this all around Manchester that we can go and look at, and like I say, the flexibility of the taxi enables me to tailor the tour to people's interests.
So have you been here for tours before? Because obviously you go all around Manchester. It's quite a different dynamic, isn't it, here to some places in Manchester such as Media City?
Well, this is literally 2 minutes away from Media City, and it gives you that great disparity, doesn't it? It gives you that the brand new Media City, all shining and glass and steel. When you come here, it's all wood and stone and glass, and it's just complete opposites, isn't it? So this takes us back to the 1300s, and then modern Manchester, modern Salford is leading the way then, isn't it? And how the city has developed and changed and grown over the years, and it's that great time difference in between, isn't it? And that's what we look at, and how all these different events. But the great miracle of this building is that it's actually survived.
Do you get busier now as the summer months are coming up, or is it kind of steady all year round? Because you have people from all over the world, don't you, coming to do the tours?
Yeah, Manchester's one of those funny places that people don't come here for the weather. Yeah. So summer for us is also, you get a lot of people coming here to sightsee, to visit, and also use Manchester because it's a regional location where it is, near to the airport, the rail links, makes it a great place to have a base because you can explore from here as well. But while you're here, have a good look around Manchester because there's gems all over the place like this, Walsall Hall, also places in the city centre as well, and there's old and new, and there's all these different hidden gems that are around as well. So there's loads to see in Manchester.
Now sports, and our correspondent Jamal Nyers joined me earlier in the studio.
All right.
So you've got the Manchester derby tonight. Tell me how things will go, Jamal.
I think it's a huge game, not just in the race for the top four, but obviously it's a derby game, so there's a big local rivalry there. Manchester United will overtake Manchester City and Liverpool to third spot if they win this game. They're holding all the momentum. They've just beat the champions Chelsea. They've beaten Burnley away in a really impressive performance without the likes of Ibrahimovic. Going into this game, they're also without Paul Pogba, who's been massively influential alongside Ibrahimovic this season. Manchester City are coming on the back off a loss in the FA Cup semi-finals against Arsenal, so they'll be looking to bounce back. So it creates a really interesting dynamic between the two clubs going into the game, and it really, really is a must-win for both teams. They can't afford anything else.
And what would you say about Pep Guardiola's first season in English football?
I think it was always going to be an interesting development, seeing how he would adapt to the English game, and there was such pressure on him given the amount of success that he had overseas with Barcelona and Bayern Munich. But the key factor in those two teams is that he was blessed with a team of truly world-class players, with the likes of Lionel Messi at Barcelona and the likes of Robben and Robert Lewandowski at Bayern Munich. So to be given a team that isn't on par with those, I think it has, I'm going to say it's exposed him as a manager. He's not shown that he can hang with the big boys. This is his first season that he's going to be without a trophy. The Premier League's gone. They're out of the FA Cup. So I think all he can do is put in a good performance and bring some pride back to the city with this huge Manchester derby game.
And also in football, as big league, Salford City, they've massive game themselves at the weekend.
Yeah, it's huge. Salford, if they do not win at the weekend, it is between Chorley and Stockport that are going to get in the play spot. All the teams at Salford have left their jobs on full time, including us. So a lot of the pressure is on. You know, they're looking to climb the football pyramid in the football league, and to the next division is stone. They can't afford to slow the process with the investment that they're getting from the Class of 2.
Coming away from football, massive fight Saturday night, Klitschko versus Joshua.
Yeah.
And how do you think that one will go?
Well, it's been highly anticipated since Anthony Joshua made the decision from amateur in this. We've all known that throughout his professor's 19th fight that he's fought nobody on level. This is the big logical step. Vladimir Klitschko, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. I'll see what Joshua will. I think if the fight
can do it.
I think Joshua can do it with a finish.
Thank you very much, Jamal. Now we're to Jess with the weather.
The weather this bank holiday weekend is going to be cloudy but mostly dry across the northwest. Looking closely at Friday, it's going to feel pretty chilly with temperatures peaking around 10 degrees. So for those of you who are going to the food market at Stockport this weekend, you'll be needing those layers to wrap up warm. On Saturday, over 60 different stalls are returning to Lowry Outlet Makers Market, and once again it will remain dry but cloudy with blustery winds. And it's not a bank holiday for barbecues this weekend because Sunday and Monday are similar with cloudy throughout the day, low temperatures and a strong wind. But in typical British style, we'll be making the most of a long but chilly weekend. Jessica Tidswell reporting for Quays News.
And now we've got Zora Connolly with all the entertainment news. So then, Zora, tell us what's happening in the entertainment world.
Well, first of all, one person to concentrate on is Kim Kardashian. Everyone knows that she's a huge reality star, and she obviously has been appearing on her reality show Keeping Up with the Kardashians. But since that Paris robbery that occurred to her, where she was held at gunpoint, things have been quite difficult for her to actually come back into the spotlight, into the limelight. And she actually went on the Ellen show today, and she spoke about her ordeal. And here is a clip of the talk she had with Ellen.
All right, let's take a look.
Just don't want to start crying anymore, but yeah,
you can cry.
It was meant to happen to me. Like the things, I really feel like things happen in your life to teach you things, and this was like, I'm just. Thanks.
So quite an emotional clip there from her, because I think that's rare to see. One thing that they commented on was that she actually isn't herself. She used to be all about that glam, and now she's faded back into wearing all black clothes and quite laid back, which isn't like her. We've seen her in glam for years and years. I'm not sure if you've seen her in glam for years and years.
I can't say I have. Can't say I really follow her. But I did notice you're looking quite a bit thinner there. Is it?
Yeah, a lot of people have said that that's one thing to talk about. There was a Daily Mail article, and they've commented on, she's gone on holiday at the minute with her sister, Kourtney Kardashian, and she actually has lost a lot of weight, and there are a lot of body shamers out there, but people are saying, you know, she's the best she's ever been, and that's one thing that we should notice. And then next, we want to talk about 13 Reasons Why. Have you heard of 13 Reasons Why?
I've never heard of it. Sharing my age, I haven't got a clue.
Well, that is, any Netflix user will know it. It's a huge TV series. Hey. A summer hit. And basically what it's all about, it's about a teenage girl who commits suicide, but she sends these 13 tapes across to basically every single person is on these tapes that she thinks has made her want to commit suicide. So she does that before she passes, obviously. And within that, it has actually caused a lot of controversy with mental health associations, and because they say that it's showing a wrong insight into mental health and how that affects, you know, people who actually want to commit suicide. It shows a different limelight to it. And one country who's actually gone ahead and really put a step down on the show is New Zealand, as they have the highest rate of teenage suicide in the developing world.
Blimey.
Yeah, one thing I didn't know either. And one thing within that they did, they've created a new certification for it, which is RP18.
Well, that's a very serious subject and it sounds very interesting. We'll leave it there, Zara. Thank you. That's all from us here. That's all from us here at Quays News this afternoon. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter for more updates at Quays News. Join us again next week for your latest news and weather. I'm Doug Roweth. Goodbye.